Please open up two tabs on your laptop. One of them should be Family Link with this class's grades showing. And the other should be your Avatar stat sheet. If you want to get really fancy and use side-by-side windows, that could be really efficient. So you'd have your Avatar stat sheet showing in one window and Family Link showing in the other. To do that, just make sure your Chrome is not full screen. So use that button in the middle, the little icon to make it less than full screen. And then take one of your tabs and drag it out of that window. Set them up side by side, resize, and then you can really easily compare your stat sheet with Family Link, which is what we're about to do. What I have on this screen is a sample Avatar stat sheet from one of our students this year. And no mystery, it's an Algebra 1 student, but I won't tell you who it is. And I don't think there's any more identifying information than just Algebra 1 here. So we're going to go through this example as we talk about a couple of things. And it turns out this sheet is a really good example of some of what we're going to talk about. The very first thing, since you're comparing your stat sheet to Family Link, is to make sure that you have grades on all the campaigns that you've earned by logging work on the campaign logs. So a lot of students, it turns out, don't yet understand that it's the blue column that indicates to you what grade you would receive in Family Link. So when we check out this blue column with the white writing, and we look at the percent for each campaign, we see 116.2% in this example. A little lower here we have an 85%. There's a 79.2%. Those percents correlate directly into the grades that this student should have in the gradebook. Anything over 100% would be a 10 out of 10 for that campaign's assignment. Keep in mind, campaigns are 10-point assignments in the gradebook. The 85, some people might think the 85 would be a 9. Some might think it would be an 8. Some might think it would be an 8.5. It's an 8 in the gradebook. Anything in the range of the 80%, so from 80.0 all the way up to 89.9%, would count as an 8 in the gradebook. When we go down below to this 79.2%, that's still going to be a 7% in the gradebook. And then another example down a little lower, we've got a 63.6. That's going to be a 6 out of 10 in the gradebook. So take just a moment, probably won't take long, especially if you do the side-by-side view, and make sure that your grades match the percentages you see on your stat sheet. What I notice is often, and we have some specific students this year who are not getting the grades they earn, and they're not telling me about it. So they're sitting there with lower grades than they've actually done work for, and they're not checking this. So that was a quick reminder. I'll give you a minute to check that out. Make sure that you have the level that you should, or the grade you should, and then we will talk about a couple of other strategies. And if you notice that you have a mismatch between Family Link and the stat sheet, if you're not here in person with me, submit a level up request. If you are in person, just let me know. If I'm really busy, I might ask you to submit a level up request anyway, but then it gets logged and I make sure it gets done before I get rid of that logged entry. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to imagine that you are a student. Let's say you're this student. This is your stat sheet. You're considering these campaigns and these marks, and you're in a hurry to bring your grade up. This happens to a lot of students. For some students, this seems to happen almost weekly. For some, even more often. Often it's because of eligibility. You've got to rush to get your grade brought up right before the eligibility posting. For others, it might be right before a report card comes out, or for some other reason you just want to bring your grade up. I'm going to try to show you or share with you the fastest, most efficient ways, or some techniques that you can use by just looking over your stat sheet to bring up your grade as much as possible with as little work as possible. And I think it's a really good skill to have in life, is being able to understand a system well enough to be as efficient as you can working within the system. And this is a really great stat sheet to look at. And I bet, I just won't bet. Let's continue. So look at this stat sheet up on the big screen. And imagine you're in the student's position and you want to bring your grade up fast. Think about what strategy you would use right now. And if one of you wants to share that strategy with me. If not, I'll call on somebody. All right, so having heard one anonymous tip, a really, really good idea, that no one else has thought of so far this morning. It said to really quickly bring up your grade, watch any videos that were assigned from those campaigns that weren't logged yet. Campaigns 10 and 14, it looks like. This student hasn't logged or hasn't logged correctly. So that's excellent. I'd further suggest that maybe this student make sure they understand what's up with campaigns 10 and 14. Maybe they did some of the work and just haven't logged it yet. They could just submit that campaign log, earn some points, bring those 2 campaign grades up in the gradebook. That might be really fast if they've already done the work. On the other hand, if they haven't even started campaigns 10 and 14, watching the videos first is a great idea if there are any videos assigned. But completing those entire campaigns, while that's a great idea, and it would help improve their understanding of that certain content, whatever it is, and help them out in the long run, it might not be the fastest way to bring up their grade. They might want to spend their time that they would have spent on campaigns 10 and 14 doing some other more precisely targeted things to some other campaigns. All right, so another student suggests to bring up the levels of campaigns, like 6 and 7 that currently are at an F. They're at a 50-some%, so a 5 out of 10 in the gradebook. Bring those up. And again, I think that's a great idea because those low percentages might indicate the student doesn't understand a lot of what they were supposed to learn during that particular campaign. So doing some additional work, maybe those campaigns 7 and 8 and 9, if they were assigned, and given these numbers it looks like they must have been, completing some of those could be a great idea and bring that level up. But if we want to be even more precise, and one student mentioned maybe doing some of the noble deeds, or noble quests, I guess they're called this year, because those are typically really easy to do. You just have to make the choice to do them. Picking up garbage, or spending an hour with family playing a game or something. But I want to get even really precise. Which campaign would be a good one to pick up some of those side quest points on to help you level up quickly and improve your grade quickly? All right, so to answer that question, looks like campaign 8 is really close to leveling up, closer than any others that I see, at least at first glance. Because if we look at campaign 8's percentage, it's at a 79.2%. So if we think about what that's going to look like in Family Link, that's going to be a 7 out of 10 for campaign 8. If this student does just a little bit more work, improves their grade by 0.8%, so really not much. Maybe they do side quest A or B or the heroic quest for that campaign. I bet any one of those would bring up their level and bring up their grade to an 8 out of 10 in the gradebook. So again, the student could choose to complete all of this work, but that's going to be a lot of time, I would guess. Whereas if they divide all of the time that they would have spent on that campaign to more selectively doing or spreading out that time to complete some of the side quests or some of the easier quests on campaigns that are already really close to leveling up, you can see that they could improve their grade probably really quickly, but certainly more efficiently than they might if they just pick a campaign they haven't even started. All right, so one last thing before you exit this video. I'll ask you to take a look at your avatar stat sheet and identify at least one, but maybe several campaigns that you can see that are really close to breaking over into the next level. So you're looking for campaigns that are in the very high 50% or the very high 60% or 70 or so on. But they're really close to breaking over to that next group of 10, which would result in a higher grade. You don't have to work on those right now. Just keep it in mind that you may have some campaigns that won't take much work to bring your grade up. Also remember, anytime you level up a past campaign, you need to let me know. Either let me know in person, if we're in the same room, or use one of the level up request forms online. Thank you.